Hello everyone, it is spooky month and haunted reads. So, because it is that, I am just reading random books throughout the month. I'm going to talk a little bit about the ones that I've read so far because this is a mid-month check-in. And at some point in the next couple days, I will have my September one finally wrapped up. The beginning of this month has been a little bit crazy because my daughter and my husband were sick. There's a cold going around, but also we have having mold in the house. And we've been fighting to get this mold out for years and it's still not gone. And as you can tell, my nose is a little bit stuffed up from it, so I apologize. We're doing our best. Hopefully at the end of the month the landlord will take us seriously. We'll see how that goes. They usually don't. That means that I have had some more time to read, and so far this month I've read 5 books, I think, so I will go over those. I also had a free trial of Canva, so you get this very interesting little video because it has a hat. It's a Halloween hat because it's Halloween month. Let's go. So first we're going to start with The Cottage at the Edge of the Woods by Liz Blackthorne. I actually have this. I bought it at Talia. Again, for those that are new, Talia is like the German version of Barnes & Noble. And I bought it because I love, I really love books that are a little bit strange, ones I haven't heard of. And this is a short novella. It's like, I don't know, under 30 pages, I think. And it's this it's made for fans, you know, T. Kingfisher fantasy series, the more like low fantasy, but has, you know, higher stakes. And but it's this low stakes version of some of the higher adventure stuff, you know, for the demons and the possessions, and like that's the stuff she handles, the character does. And what I really liked about it was you walk in like you've already been there before, but you're not lost. You know, there's a fill in on a very short amount of time. You know, Anna and Thorn is her familiar as a crow. There's this very interesting like connection between the two, and I found it to be highly fun, highly entertaining, to be honest, and I can't wait to read more. Again, I find things so often just like going for sales that are like 99 cents and under, and this was one of those really awesome finds. You know, some of my favorite ones have been that way. And then I did Give Me a Sign by Anna Sorrentino. This one is very interesting. I listened to it on audio, and it's about a hard of hearing teen. She's 17, almost 18, and she's going back to camp for the first time in a while, and it's free, but she's a counselor there, a junior counselor, and it's very interesting to hear what's going on. You know, there's this interesting technique they use when you hear the scrambled language. You hear the, you know, I assume a lot of hard of hearing people hear, or deaf people hear, the loss and the different frequency of things. I really enjoyed the fact that, you know, Lila has this great arc of understanding her disability, both from a positive and a negative point of view, living in the hearing world because her parents don't want to learn sign language, even though she and her brother are both hard of hearing and they are going to have profound loss of hearing and then eventually probably going to become deaf. So it's this very interesting connection there. The only thing I did not like was the romance. I felt like it was kind of like shoehorned in because it's supposed to be YA. But other than that, I found it to be really fun, exciting. I was here for it. And then I read Guarding Gus, and I found this because Stuff Your Kindle type day where instead of it being free, it was like between free and like $1.99 for the items. And I found this one, for the audiobook was free, so I downloaded the audiobook, and I found this one to be kind of fun. Gus is this like baby magical creature that they find. It's a gargoyle, and then there's this whole like thing where 2 mob bosses own it, and these 2 guys end up like dating because they both find it and care for this, you know, care for Gus. And then Gus is kind of like this precocious, like 6-month-old, but it feels more like a, you know, maybe like an 18-month-old. There's Remy, the random vampire. There's all kinds of, you know, odd references, but it's very Midwestern, and it was fun. So I gave this like, I think 3.5 stars, which is pretty good for a book that was only like 4 hours long, so it's fairly short. And we cannot forget The Wild Robot. I love this book. Oh my god. I read it in a day. It was just one of those long days where my daughter, I had to take her and pick her up from school, so I had a doctor's appointment, I had all these things going on, and I went and I read it at the local cafe, and I finished it, and my heart! If you love books that have got, you know, things like love and kindness and finding yourself and found family and adventures, you know, it's fantastic. It's somewhere between good for just past early readers, you know, her 60, 70 page books, but not quite to the more in-depth middle grade. But it's got short chapters. There's illustrations in almost every chapter. I think there actually is. It was all done by Peter Brown. I'm excited for the next book. And I don't always say that, but I really, really recommend this book to people that have kids, especially if you read aloud to them and you can show them the pictures. There's a feeling of connection with Roz, the robot, and you really, really want her to succeed. And especially as a surrogate mom, and everything is so good, and how she connects everybody, and it feels wonderful. So I highly recommend that one as well. That one obviously got 5 stars. And finally, I read The Clockwork Boys by T. Kingfisher. If you don't know, I love T. Kingfisher. And this is set in the same kind of universe as the Saints of Steel, the White Rat, Sword Heart, all those kinds. It's set in that world, and this is kind of like, I believe, the beginning stages of it. And The Clockwork Boys are about this cranky, a forger, the dreaming god's paladin, an assassin, and like a learned guy who are all going to try to save the world, and they get lost in all these different ways. There's so many side quests. I don't play D&D, but if you play D&D, you'll definitely understand what these are. I just found it to be fun. It only got 3.5 stars. It's not one of my favorites. It's probably on par with A Sorceress Comes to Call, because they both got the same under 4 rating, but it's still fun, and it's a good lead up into the Wonder Engine, which you learn about in this book. And I think it's going to be very interesting to find out what's going to happen with the Wonder Engines, the oncoming unstoppable force that are the Clockwork Boys. I don't want to give too much away. My library had it, so I was very happy. My library also had Just Give Me a Sign. And I was excited because I've been wanting to read this one for ages, and now I can. And the Wonder Engine is up to read later this month, so I'll probably have both of them in the next couple updates. Again, it's not my favorite one, but I think it's definitely a fun one. If you want something light on the head, like if you just want to relax, definitely recommend it. It's nothing against that. It's just I like a little bit more character development, but I can also tell that this was probably early on in Kingfisher's career. So that's all I read. Hey, that's it. That's what I read. I've got a couple more coming in. I also bopped out one Golden Summer, and I can't remember the other one, but I did not like them, and they didn't even get to 10%. They didn't even get to DNF. I just started reading them and went, nah, I'm good. Oh, it was Miss Mabel's School for Girls, so I think that was last month. Anyway, I am reading The Rose Bargain, which is really good right now. I'm 26% in, which sounds like not a lot, but it's writing, so I'm having to go back and forth, and like I said, it's been chaos, so maybe we get to a whole lot of reading. Okay, guys, I think that's near the end. I hope you guys are excited for this month. I am. I love Halloween month because everything I read is so different, and there's so many great supernatural, low fantasy, slightly thrillery type things that are going on, and I can't wait to finish out the month. I have a lot more left on my TBR, but literally all my library books came at the same time, so I'm having to kind of work around that. I'm going to try and take my daughter to a Puppenspiele, which is a puppet house, think Center for the Puppetry Arts in Atlanta. It's not that big, don't get me wrong, but they have those little plays that they put on and stuff. And so on Halloween they're going to have one. I'm hoping I can take her because she's out of school due to something the school is doing on that day. So we shall see, and we shall see what my little one dresses up as. I may actually put that picture up and just blur her face. Okay, guys, I will see how things go, and I will let you know what else I'm reading. Bye!